Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Benny, and in today's video I am going to be doing a January wrap-up. This is my first wrap-up of this channel and I'm so excited to tell you about the books that I read this month. I definitely read more than usual, but maybe it's because of this channel. I mean, definitely because I started this channel. So I read so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books in total. In those 7 books, I DNF'd 1. Those are the books that I read. I read 2 on my Kindle and 1 I actually listened to it. So let's get into the video and talk about the books that I read this month. So the first book that I read this month, and it's actually the first book that I read in the 2024, it's Heartless by Elsie Silver. I'm sorry, my cat is just like really clingy this morning. This is the second book of the Chestnut Spring series and I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. If you don't know anything about this book, it's a cowboy romance. So Reid is a single dad, love that, and he wants to find a sitter for his son Luke, which is 5 years old, and Summer, the main character of the first book, Flawless, suggests Willa, which is her best friend, which we meet in the first book already. So she moves in with him and start babysitting for his child and whatever, you know how romance works. But the fun thing about this is the banter that they had. The female character is so fun, so energetic, so like fiery. I really liked her. And Kate, it's like the mysterious, wants to be left alone, and he's very like silent, very serious and all that. And I think the dynamic between the two of them is absolutely insane, and they bring out like qualities of each other. So the kid, Luke, was really fun, and I never thought that I would like a kid in the romance, but actually it was pretty good, even though sometimes it felt like it was way too mature. The things that he was saying, like, it didn't seem like a 5 years old for some reason. Overall, I really liked it. I give it a 4.5 stars. I think I liked it more than Flawless, but both of the books are amazing and I cannot wait to read all the rest of the series because I think I'm growing a very deep affection for all the characters. The second book that I read this month is Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So I actually was halfway through this book. I started this book like around June or something, and I was not really feeling it at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna put it aside because this was like one of my most anticipated reads. I wanted to finish it because I've heard so many great things about it, and it's also inspired by Chinese mythology, which I thought that was absolutely incredible and I wanted to read more about it. And I gave it a 3.5 stars. So I read half of it in June, then this part I listened to it, and this part I actually read. So kind of a mixture, a little confusing, which I do not recommend. If you have a high attention span, you could listen to it, but I don't, and I think I missed on a couple of scenes that maybe were important because at one point I got a little confused. That's why I switched and started reading it. I felt that it was kind of slow at the beginning, that's why I put it aside, and then all of a sudden everything was happening. It was so fast that I could not keep up. I usually love when a fantasy is very high stakes and a lot of action and stuff, but I feel like this was a little too much, which it's crazy to say for the interest that I had and the fact that I wasn't really connected to any of the characters. I think it was a little too much for me, but maybe this is going to be a reread, and in the reread I'm going to love it. I don't know, because I have mixed feelings about it. I give it a 3.5 stars because I think the magic system is incredible and really unique, and the imagination of the author is insane, and I love the world building. I love the settings that we get. There's dragons that talk, which is fun. Some characters have magical powers, and she's literally the daughter of the moon goddess that lives in the moon, which is insane. And I don't know, I liked it, didn't love it. 3.5, not too bad, not my favorite book. So yeah. The third book that I read this month is Daughter of the Pirate King. I was so surprised when I read this book because I've had it in my shelf for so long. I already read Fable, I don't know if you can see it right here, which is another pirate fantasy, and I DNF'd that one because I did not like it, did not get attached to the characters whatsoever. And even though I personally love pirates so much, everything that has pirates in it, I just eat it up. But in books, I never really experienced it, and I was really excited to read Fable for that reason because I wanted to experience pirates in book form, but I didn't like it, so it took me a while to dive into this one. But one day I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna read it, and I absolutely loved it. I love the main character. She is such a girl boss, and the love interest, it's so like cute and mysterious, and I love it. It's enemies to lovers. I don't know if you get it. I love enemies to lovers. That's one of my favorite tropes of all time, if not my favorite. I really like the writing because it's really fast-paced, not draining at all. Sometimes writings can't feel draining, even though that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just like, I don't know, it takes a lot out of you for some reason. This did not feel like that at all. I absolutely loved everything about this book. I love the main character. I love the villain, let's say. I love the side characters a lot. I giggled sometimes. Like, the side characters are so fun. So if you don't know anything about this book, this is a YA fantasy about Alosa, which is the daughter of the Pirate King, and she's not just that, but I'm not really sure what can I say. But she basically gets kidnapped by the enemy's ship, but then later on you find out that she wanted to be kidnapped because her father, the Pirate King, wanted her to steal a part of the map of a treasure. I'm really excited for the rest of the series. I think it's going to be fantastic. I hope actually it's going to be fantastic. This is a trilogy. This is the first book, and then I recently got the second book, and I'm excited to read it. Highly recommend it. I give this a 4.5 stars. The next book that I read is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is definitely going to be a reread for me in the future because I want to annotate as much as possible. I did annotate a little bit, but not enough. I feel like Taylor Jenkins Reid has this type of writing that it gives you so many quotes and messages to it. Like, every single book that I read, I always want to annotate. This book, it's about Emma, which she falls in love and marries her high school sweetheart, and after, I don't know how long, I don't remember, but he dies. She's obviously heartbroken, but after a while she meets Sam, which is, I don't remember the other, Jesse. So Jesse is the first love, and then she meets Jesse and they fall in love. He proposes, they move in together, they have cats together, they have a great life together, they're super in love. But then after 3 years that Jesse went missing, he calls her and tells her that he's actually alive. So he comes back, and she's kind of in between an old love and a new love, and kind of trying to understand what to do with the situation and who to stay with. And it's really interesting because you kind of get to see like her thoughts on the idea of love and how you are as a lover and how you want to be loved and all of that. And I think it's a little deeper than a rom-com. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4 stars. The next book that I have, I don't have the physical copy of because I actually listened to it, and that is Wrong Time, Wrong Place. It's a thriller, and I actually DNF'd this one because first DNF of the year, it was so boring. I felt like I was wasting my time. So it was too long, didn't like it, not my cup of tea. There is like the trope of time travel, but it's not really time travel, whatever. So basically the main character, which I don't remember the name of, she has a son. Her son murders a person, and she's like, oh my god, super in shock, whatever. And then she wakes up the next day, and it's like few days before that, and then every single chapter, it's like always goes back in time, and you get to know like her story and other people's story. I don't know, it's just like, it was too much, it was too confusing. I did not like it. You kind of guess plot twist. I don't know, I did not enjoy it. I DNF'd it. So the next book that I read is also another thriller, which is None of This Is True. I don't have it with me. I read it on my Kindle, and I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was a little bit slow. I think there was like too much information. I feel like I like thrillers that just go straight to the point and doesn't give you much background of the character. Sometimes I just don't want to hear it. I just want to see the situation that is happening in the present. I just want something that shocks me. I don't want information because I don't like the character characters and I don't care about the characters. So I think I kind of got what I like in thrillers, like The Housemate, for example. Like, I read that and absolutely loved it because it was just straight to the point. It didn't drag on and explain things about the characters that you never care about simply because they're not likable and you don't want to know about them, if that makes sense. I gave this a 3.5 stars. As I said, it was a bit slow, it was a little bit confusing, but not really. Actually, it was not that confusing. I don't know why I wrote that down, but it was a little addicting because you don't know really what's going on and you kind of want to get to know what's going on. I don't remember the plot twist, y'all, so I do remember. Okay, the plot twist got me simply because it's open to interpretation, which I actually really enjoy. It kind of reminds me of Verity a little bit. If you like those kind of books, I highly recommend this one. It's good. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that loved it, so I still would recommend it. To people, it's just like not my favorite type of thriller. And yeah, I give it a 3.5 stars. Not too bad, not too good. Just like right in the middle. The last book that I read this month is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I give it a 3 stars. At the beginning of this book, I really liked it, and then I thought that it was a little cringe. Like, it was a bit too much. I understand the purpose and I understand why the author wanted to write something like it. I love that communication was a very important point and they were really talking about it a lot, like how they communicate their feelings and all of that. That was really cool. The main male character was really respectful and I really enjoyed that part, obviously. Although I thought that sometimes it was a little too cringy and at times I just felt like the spice was a bit too much. Like, I get it. You don't need to do it every single chapter. I felt like the plot was not really there because it was a little bit dragged on. It's like almost 500 pages, which I feel like for a romance, it's a bit too much. It could have been a lot shorter than what it was. I feel like the majority of the pages were filled with spice, which if it's a thing that you like, that's fun. But for me personally, I love spice in books. When it's a bit too much, then it's just not fun anymore because they just lose the spark for me personally. And also another thing that I did not like, there's certain topics, I'm not gonna say that it should have trigger warnings, but at the same time, like, I can't see why, if you've been through some of the things that the main character went through, it's a very big topic and I feel like it was used a little too lightly in my opinion. By the way, I forgot to mention, this book's about, I will just read it to you. Icebreaker is a college romance about an ice skater and the hockey captain she hates and they're forced to share a rink. That's all. Those are all the books that I read this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed your time here and I hope I will see you in my next video, which it's going to be my February TBR and it's going to be a little different and I'm very excited and I will see you in my next video. Bye!